Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because of habits they barely notice. Not dramatic habits, not obvious self-destructive behavior. Small patterns. Things that look normal on the surface but quietly push success further away every single day. Think about a simple moment that probably happens more often than you realize. You start the morning with a clear intention. You know the one task that actually matters that day. The one that moves your work, your income, or your future forward. But instead of starting with that task, you begin with something easier. You check a few messages. You respond to emails. You scroll through information that feels productive but isn't actually moving anything important. An hour passes. Then another. Eventually you do begin the real work, but now your focus is weaker and your time is limited. By the end of the day, the important task is only partially complete. Nothing terrible happened. You were busy the entire time. But the result is subtle and dangerous. The work that creates progress keeps getting delayed. Now multiply that pattern across weeks, months, and years. This is how success quietly stays out of reach for many capable people. Not because they refuse to work, but because their daily habits slowly guide their energy in the wrong direction. Jim Rohn once said something simple that most people underestimate. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. But the reverse is also true. Failure is usually a few small habits repeated daily. And the problem is that these habits rarely look harmful while you're doing them. In this video, you're going to see clearly which habits silently keep success away from people who otherwise have the ability to achieve it. More importantly, you'll understand why these habits form in the first place and how they quietly reshape your identity over time. When success stays distant for a long time, most people assume the explanation is external. They blame opportunity, they blame timing, sometimes they blame talent. But in many cases, the real explanation is simpler. Certain daily habits quietly redirect effort away from meaningful progress. These habits operate through a few predictable psychological patterns. Once you understand them, you start recognizing them in your own routine. The first pattern is priority displacement. This happens when low-importance tasks slowly replace high-impact work. You remain busy all day, but the work that truly changes your situation keeps getting pushed later and later. Responding to messages feels productive. Organizing small details feels responsible. But the deeper work, the work that requires concentration and patience, keeps getting postponed. Over time, activity replaces progress. The second pattern is known as delayed responsibility. This habit appears when people constantly move important decisions into the future. Instead of addressing a financial issue today, they say they will deal with it next month. Instead of having a necessary conversation, they wait for a better moment. Nothing is directly avoided, but responsibility keeps drifting forward in time. The third pattern is comfort reinforcement. This is the tendency to repeat behaviors that provide immediate psychological ease, even when they slow long-term growth. For example, imagine someone trying to build a business skill. Every evening they intend to study or practice for an hour. But after a long day, relaxing with entertainment feels easier. The decision seems harmless. But repeated often enough, comfort begins replacing preparation. Now combine these patterns together. Low priorities consume your day. Important decisions keep moving into the future. Comfort becomes the default response to effort. The result is not obvious failure. The result is slow distance from success. You still feel active, you still feel responsible. But the habits guiding your days quietly move you away from the direction you intended to go. To understand why this happens so often, we need to examine how these habits shape daily behavior and eventually reshape identity itself. When habits quietly keep success away, the change does not appear immediately. Life continues normally. Work still gets done. Responsibilities are still handled. But the direction of your effort begins to drift. And over time, that drift quietly determines whether progress compounds or disappears. Let's examine how these habits operate in everyday situations. One of the most common habits that pushes success away is beginning the day with the easiest tasks instead of the most important ones. At first, this feels logical. You arrive at work or sit down at your desk. There are messages waiting, small requests from coworkers, quick updates that seem easy to complete. Handling these tasks gives you the feeling that the day has started productively. But something subtle is happening during that time. Your most valuable mental energy is being spent on low-impact work. By the time you finally begin the task that actually moves your career forward, planning strategy, solving a difficult problem, developing a new skill, your concentration has already weakened. Now progress becomes slower. A financial analyst once described this shift in a simple way. Early in his career, he began each morning by reviewing reports and answering emails. It felt responsible, but he eventually noticed a pattern. The analytical work that truly improved his performance kept being delayed until late afternoon. When he reversed the order, tackling the most difficult work first, his productivity changed dramatically within a few months. The lesson was not complicated. Success often depends less on how long you work and more on which habits control the first hours of your day. And when the habit of starting easy becomes routine, the work that creates advancement slowly moves further away. Another habit that keeps success away appears in how people handle money. Not through dramatic mistakes, but through quiet avoidance. Financial discipline rarely fails because people do not understand basic principles. Most people know they should save consistently. They understand that unnecessary spending delays long-term stability. Yet the habit that interferes is simple: postponing financial attention. A person receives their income and tells themselves they will organize their finances later. Expenses are not tracked carefully. Savings are treated as optional rather than automatic. Each month the intention remains the same: next month I will become more structured. But months accumulate. The result is not immediate crisis. Life continues comfortably enough. However, something important is missing. Financial stability requires repeated small decisions that compound over time. Without those decisions, years pass without meaningful progress. A small example illustrates this clearly. A friend once realized he had been earning well for nearly 6 years but had saved almost nothing. Not because of reckless spending, but because he had never created a fixed system for managing money. Once he established a simple rule, saving a percentage automatically before spending anything, the situation changed within a year. The principle is straightforward. When financial habits remain undefined, comfort quietly replaces discipline. And when that happens, success becomes slower than it should be. Another pattern appears in physical and mental growth. Many people genuinely want improvement in their health or capabilities. They plan routines. They buy equipment. They commit to learning new skills. But the habit that interrupts progress is protecting comfort. Consider physical health. Someone plans to exercise consistently. For the first week, motivation is high and the routine feels manageable. But eventually an evening arrives when fatigue appears. The mind presents a simple argument: skipping today won't matter. And in isolation, that statement is true. One missed session rarely changes anything. The problem appears when the same reasoning repeats frequently. Each time comfort replaces effort, the routine weakens. Eventually, the plan becomes theoretical rather than real. The same pattern occurs with learning. A professional decides to improve a technical skill after work. The first few sessions happen. Then a long day arrives. Instead of studying, relaxation feels more attractive. Again, the decision seems harmless. But repeated often enough, comfort becomes the default response to effort. Jim Rohn once summarized this pattern clearly. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. When the habit of protecting comfort dominates daily decisions, the future gradually loses influence over the present. And when that happens, success slowly moves further away. The final habit that keeps success away often appears in relationships and professional boundaries. Avoiding difficult conversations. Many people delay these moments because they want to maintain harmony. They hesitate to address problems with coworkers, clients, or even close friends. Instead of confronting the issue early, they wait. They hope the situation resolves itself. But unresolved issues rarely disappear. They usually expand quietly. For example, imagine a team member who repeatedly misses deadlines. Addressing the issue immediately might feel uncomfortable. So the manager waits. A few weeks later the pattern continues, but now the conversation feels even more difficult. Eventually the delay affects the entire team's performance. A similar pattern happens in personal relationships. Small frustrations remain unspoken. Boundaries remain unclear. Over time, tension grows even though no direct conflict occurred. A colleague once shared a simple observation after years in management. He said the most effective professionals handle uncomfortable conversations earlier than others. Not because they enjoy conflict, but because they understand that avoiding small discomfort often creates larger problems later. Success often requires clarity in relationships, expectations, and responsibilities. And when the habit of delaying difficult conversations becomes normal, problems quietly grow until they begin interfering with progress itself. These habits rarely look destructive in isolation, but repeated over time, they quietly redirect the trajectory of a person's life. When you step back and look at these habits together, a clear pattern begins to appear. None of them look dangerous while they're happening. Starting the day with small tasks feels responsible. Ignoring financial structure for a while feels harmless. Choosing comfort after a long day feels understandable. Delaying an uncomfortable conversation feels polite. Each decision, by itself, seems reasonable. But success is rarely determined by isolated decisions. It is determined by patterns. Patterns repeated long enough eventually define direction. This is where most people misunderstand discipline. They think discipline is about forcing themselves into extreme effort. Working harder, pushing longer hours, applying more pressure. But discipline was never meant to be constant struggle. Its real function is much simpler. Discipline protects the direction of your daily behavior. When your habits consistently move in the right direction, progress compounds naturally. When your habits drift, even slightly, the effect compounds in the opposite direction. Jim Rohn often emphasized that success grows slowly and quietly. A few repeated disciplines eventually produce remarkable results. But the reverse pattern is equally powerful. A few repeated habits that avoid responsibility slowly distance you from the results you want. This is why responsibility becomes central to personal development. Not responsibility in the sense of guilt. Responsibility in the sense of ownership. Your habits are not random events. They are decisions that repeat themselves until they become automatic. Once a habit becomes automatic, it begins shaping your identity. You begin to see yourself through the lens of your behavior. Someone who repeatedly protects comfort eventually sees themselves as someone who struggles with discipline. Someone who consistently follows standards begins to see themselves as reliable. And once identity aligns with disciplined habits, something important changes. You no longer rely on motivation. Your behavior becomes predictable. That predictability is what allows progress to compound across years instead of restarting every few months. At the end of the day, success is rarely about dramatic breakthroughs. It is about whether your daily habits consistently move you toward your goals or quietly away from them. The habits that seem harmless, starting with easy tasks, ignoring small responsibilities, seeking comfort, avoiding difficult conversations, slowly define your trajectory. None of these decisions appear catastrophic in isolation, but repeated over time, they shape identity, competence, and opportunity. When someone protects comfort, delays responsibility, and negotiates standards daily, success drifts further away, not because of talent or luck, but because the structural rules of behavior have been quietly ignored. Jim Rohn reminded people simply, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. The opposite is equally true. A few repeated habits that avoid responsibility keep success out of reach. Your future is the product of these small, consistent choices, and once those choices are clear and maintained, the outcome ceases to depend on motivation. It becomes inevitable.